All right, so you want to be able to sit it real quickly. That way you spend all your time working.
Oh, there it is. It's already 7. Oh, no, it's not.
It's not.
Is that 10 seconds?
I might have done it faster than you. Let's hope.
Oh, you just
That's right. You just took the L right
You know
there.
when you
no, it's
record
center.
things?
She said, slap it.
But you know, like demos and recording demos are always not like the best word. When you like can get in the zone and just like zone everything out, that's usually like where the best stuff happens. But when you're actually having to talk through it, it's... So you're gonna kind of like curl your thumbs up to find the center, kind of resting your hands around the clay, and you're gonna push your thumbs down exactly in the center. Straight down. If that feels weird and you don't like it once you find your center, you can get your thumb, one thumb, and then kind of get your other hand and press down. I like to hold the sponge in my hand when I press, just because it keeps everything wet. But
Tell us how you pull it up.
yeah, but either way, you can just keep your thumbs and press all the way down, or you can keep that straight and push. No need to do both. It's one or the other, really. Play around. It's kind of like pushing the clay down. Different methods. Some people might find one more comfortable and easier to do than the other. Try both, see what works for you. So I'm going to stop my wheel, and I'm going to test the width at the bottom. So I want 1/2 inch, so that's a little too thin. So I'm going to kind of just press this back down to the center.
Yeah, wait a minute.
So if you struggle with that, it's really close to the beginning of the process, so you might just want to start over. Or just go through the steps and know that next time you do it, you need to make it bigger. Try again, so that I have a 1/2 inch now. So to measure that, you put your needle tool in the clay all the way to the back, put your finger up to the clay, so when you pull it up, you have a measurement. Okay, so 1/2 inch. If it's not 1/2 inch, if it's too much, that's an easy fix. What would you do if it's an inch? Push down more. Yeah. It's when it's too thin that it's kind of it's wishy-washy on what to do. So now it's at a V, right? A cylinder should have a flat bottom. So I'm going to cup it with my wrist. I'm going to pull back towards my belly with my middle finger and my other 2 surrounding fingers. So once the wheel is open, so when we're centering, when we're putting our thumb down, we can just go super duper fast, right? Once this clay is open, we gotta back off the speed. And now we're just gonna move our hands at the same rate the wheel is spinning.
I think that's where I was messing up. I was going full speed. So.
Yeah. And then I was like, if it's
Then the whole top would come off.
So if it gets a little off center right here, you're gonna kind of just press. You're pressing your palm and your hand into each other until it's back on center. Okay, but right now, I've been pulling this out. So clay has memory. I mean, clay does have memory. So if I pull this out and let it dry, and as it shrinks, what's it gonna remember to do? Pull apart. What would that cause in the center?
Hole.
Okay, we don't want that, so we're going to counteract that. We're going to take our thumb and pressing your thumb back to the center. This also helps flatten out the base, so you don't have any like weird wobbly base. If you also notice throughout this whole process, where are my elbows? On my thighs. Centering, you push down onto your thighs to do it. This is just for stability. You don't have to push as much. You see all the little throwing lines in there?
Yeah.
They're nice and close together, but I don't want to see that, so I'm going to get my sponge. I'm going to place my 3 fingers evenly across the sponge, and I'm working at 3 o'clock. So this was o'clock, 12, 6, 3. So on the right side in the center is 3 o'clock. And I'm pressing evenly down to make that nice and flat. If it's higher, usually people get higher right here. So if that's higher right there, I'm gonna press more with my ring finger. Same in the center, if it's higher there, press more with your pointer
What do you
finger.
mean if it's higher?
So if you
Oh, if it's not
didn't
flat?
make it flat and it was like had like a raised little bit in the middle or it was raised off the sides, this is the opportunity to push it all down so it's completely flat across. All right. So if I go really fast now, it should be completely centered. If at some point in any of these steps you get it off center, do not move on. You can either start over and try to perfect it to that point or get it back on center. I advise you this early on, since you're learning, take it off, try again, wedge it up, try again to get to that point center. There might be days where you're working on just doing like step 1, 2, getting that perfect. Then the next day you'll go there and then add another step to perfect. But don't move on until you get each step correct. Does that make sense? All right, so this is center. And so now I'm ready to pull up the sides. In order to pull up the sides, you're gonna use the pressure in your middle fingers, okay? You're gonna kind of connect your thumbs or connect your thumb to your hand somehow. That's just bracing yourself so everything goes up steady. So I'm gonna just kind of show you right here on the side. So I'm pressing my hands together. My inside finger is gonna be a little bit above my outside finger because there is a 1/2 inch difference because of the base, right? So if you're looking, as it spins, I'm gonna slowly bring up my outside finger. I'm gonna press more with my outside finger and pull it off the clay. The first pull we're gonna do into a volcano shape because of the centrifugal force. If we go straight up the first time, it's gonna wanna come out. The cylinder is straight up and down. So we're gonna counteract that by going more volcano shape on the first pull and then bringing it out, okay? If at any time your clay there's too much friction, add water. I'm just gonna show you how to do this, but you'll just kind of let the water glide over the wall, over the lip, and that way it'll go down both sides of the wall. But you'll get a puddle on the inside, so always take it out, okay? Keep your hands nice and wet. And we're going slow and steady. So I'm pushing. My hands are connected, you can't see it, but my thumb and my ring finger are what touching each other right now. So I pull up.
How do you fix that like a lip?
I'm going to show you. So there's sometimes this clay came out of the scrap pile, so there's some inconsistencies. I probably should have wedged it a little bit longer. So right now, if I try to compress this lip, one side will be longer than the other because this side, you see how that's higher? So I'm going to trim it before I compress it. So to trim the lip, I'm going to let my finger rotate, resting my thumb on my other hand somewhere. Keeping my pointer finger as close to the needle as you can. And kind of like a record, you're going to slowly let it go in. I'm going to keep rotating, moving it in towards my finger. As I touch my finger, I'm going to let it rotate, 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 and then I'm going to pull it off. After every pull, you have to compress. So if you cut it, you still have to compress it. So to compress the lip, I'm going to let my fingers glide, my left hand fingers glide on the walls while my right hand presses the lip down. That's also just like compressing the bottom to prevent cracks. You're pressing the lip to prevent cracks. So now I'm going to pull up again. There's some slip on there, get it off. It's not helpful. Pressing, pressing.
So you start all the way at the bottom and then go all the way back up.
And I'm pressing more at the bottom than the top because it's thicker, so I have to press more here. Does that make sense? So your thickness is trying to get to a 1/4 inch all the way around when you compress. If I cut this right now, because I can get you back to this point real quick. Is there a wire tool in there? Yeah, that'd be great. And then I'll use some of that clay. So when you pull, I'll show you the thickness at the bottom that you'll see. So at every step you'll see it a little different. But if you see right here, you've got your thickness there, but it's really, I have all this clay right here. So I should be able to push this in more and do one more pull to get that the same thickness. So if we go back to that point,
Hate the sound.
is it out? Or the squishy?
Because of the last one.
You still got 6 steps
I
and
know.
2.5 seconds.
We must have already got to
This,
where we
this, this,
start over.
get back to where we were at, exactly 1.5 minutes.
We're not even there yet. You don't even have to do it.
All right.
Compress, compress, compress. Start to compress.
Just pull up.
See my not
So I'm pulling back up, compressing. I'm going to do it again.
You didn't even have to
And
cut it that time.
underneath. Unfortunately, you talk about it as you go. It's a lot. You mess up on. So you see this little divot right here? That's where I'm going underneath to get that thickness, and I'm pressing it back in with my ring finger or my pointer finger, and I'm pulling up with my middle finger. So once I feel that I've done enough throws and it's all consistent, then I'm ready to clean it up before I cut it. And then we can talk about what's wrong. I already know one thing that's wrong with this one. It's too thick on the bottom. Because which step did I leave out the second time?
See how thick it was.
I did not measure it. Good job. So make sure you measure.
That's why you never skip steps
That's why you never skip steps.
in a rush.
All right, so in cleaning this up, we're going to start at the bottom and work up. So the first thing is we're going to do an undercut. The diagonal piece of the wooden tool is going to face me, and it's going to be at a 45-degree angle. I'm going to rotate this through, punctured in there. So there should be a 45-degree angle at the bottom. To get that piece of clay off, I'm going to poke my needle tool at the bottom. And then cut this back down, and this will just come off really easily. So I've gotten the bottom clean. My next thing is I want to make sure my sides are nice. And get my wooden tool. And I'm going to put it on the outside. While it rotates on the outside, I'm going to press lightly on the inside with my middle finger as it goes up the sides.
You're probably gonna see my head in this video all the time. Sorry.
She doesn't use our videos anymore.
Because I keep looking over here.
You're the only class I remember the video. I forgot what we did.
Because I keep looking over here because you have to do it on 3
Your
o'clock.
head
So
doesn't like cover the clay though.
it doesn't.
Like it gets near the thing, but you can still see the clay.
So then I have it straight up and down on the sides. And then I'm going to trim the lip. Let it rotate. Always keeping my elbows for stability. I'm going to compress the lip. After I've compressed the lip, I'm going to use a damp sponge to clean it up. Okay. So then, for the cross section, we're going to cut it in half. Normally, you would take this, put your thumbs down, slowly rotate, pull it towards you, pick it up, put it on your board. But for Friday, you're kind of doing, this is to help like self-grade yourself. You're going to cut it in half, pull it back and forth, and then bring it out.
Oh, so this is due Friday?
I'll have to see it. Yeah.
With our other project?
Do we have to do one Friday, or can it be like done?
If you finish Thursday and I see it, we can do it anytime this week. I need a grade on your cross section. So if we look, it's a little off. It's not too bad. Probably could be a little bit shorter. It's a little bit more than a half an inch, but not bad. But you should see that the thickness is the same on both sides. If you cut it in half and one side is wider than the other, that means it was off center. Most likely when you put your thumbs down. Because when you pull it up, it's keeping one side thicker. Hopefully, as you're throwing, you'd be able to feel that one side was thicker, because you can like pull, you have the skill to pull it and one side end up being higher than the other, turning it off and it fix itself. But you should be able to feel that it's the same thickness all the way around. You want 1/4 of an inch thickness from the bottom all the way to the top. Alright? So you should be able to cut in half and evaluate what you need to improve on. As you do this, you will find some things that you are doing correctly, and some things as you do it you'll realize, what am I doing wrong? And you'll end up with more questions. One of the things I did not go over that I meant to, I want to show you how to do something incorrectly. So if I go down like that and I have this nipple in the middle, is that good? No. If that happens to you, you're just going to kind of press that back in with your sponge. Okay? If you're pulling and your fingers go really fast, you end up with this weird swirl because your hands are moving faster than the wheel. You need to back off and go slow. If your fingers are far apart, so these are throwing lines. They should be really close together. If they are far apart, that means your fingers are going faster than the wheel, and you'll end up, if I cut this in half, some weird stuff going on. So you got some thickness more here than here, just weird stuff. So you're moving too fast.